Flee from sexual immorality. All other sin a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. That comes from 1 Corinthians 6 verse 18. Welcome back to my Let's Explain series A to Z, and today we're going to look a little bit deeper into that verse, but not just about that verse. We're actually going to cover something very interesting, and that is V for vasopressin. So listen up, it's going to be a fun session today. Please hit that subscribe button if you want more videos of these. Today we're going to talk about men and their hormone vasopressin. So I want to start the session by asking you, what is your biggest sex organ? This is important to ask our kids. They need to understand what is their biggest sex organ. And let's give that a little bit of a think. It's actually your brain. Your biggest sex organ is your brain. It's not your skin. I get a lot of women saying their skin or then their genitals and stuff like that, but it's actually your brain. Your brain is where the first experience starts, where the thought starts, and where you get aroused. Now, vasopressin are released in a man's brain when he has his first sexual experience. And that purpose of vasopressin is really interesting. If you go and Google vasopressin, you will find it's actually called the monogamy hormone. And that's interesting because monogamy doesn't mean one at a time. It means one person for one other person for the rest of their lives. So it's really interesting to call vasopressin the monogamy hormone. Okay, so there were studies, and I'm going to show you this little picture. Can you see that little mouse? It's actually called a pair wheel. They did a study about these pair wheels, and what they saw is these pair wheels actually had found one mate for life. And what they did is they saw that they have a lot of vasopressins in their bodies. So what they took out the vasopressin out of this pair wheel's body and observed what happened. Can you guess what happened? These pair wheels started to sleep around. That's why the vasopressin is called the monogamy hormone. Now that's really interesting to think that when the first time when you have sex or have a sexual experience, I want to be clear on this. It's not just sex, it's your sexual experience. So watching pornography, masturbating, all of that is imprinting on your brain and say, this is nice, this is good. Remember, you get dopamine high, there's a lot of chemicals happening in your brain saying, I want more of this, I want more of this stimulation. Vasopressin that are released and dopamine, all of that works together to say, this that I'm experiencing now, I want to do again. But the problem with men is when their first sexual experience is with pornography or in a lusting environment, like on a first date or one night stand, stuff like that, they imprint on that experience. The vasopressin imprint on that. Now, what do I mean by imprinting? Let's look at this little picture that I've got up here about the dog and the little ducklings. You know, when the duckling first hatch and the first thing they see, they attach to that. That is what vasopressin does. They attach to that. They see that that is their mom, the dog is their mom. And vasopressin, when you have their first sexual experience in a lustful environment, you attach to that. And then from there on, you are looking for that in sex. And I know the guys who are listening, pornography, that is not what truly sex is in a romantic, loving, committed marriage relationship. Actually, porn is just about lust and pleasure and have an object of pleasuring myself. So when you have your first sexual experience in that lustful environment, you imprint on that, your vasopressin imprint on that. And that's horrible, because when that happens, when you find the person that you want to get married to, you struggle to find the commitment and stay pure or stay committed to that person. And you say, oh, I'm never going to watch porn again and because I find my true love. That's actually not true, because you already imprinted on that experience. This is a big deal, guys. If you imprint on that, you can't imprint on your wife. Now, you know these old couples, now I've got my parents are like that old couples that are still looking at each other, all dreamy eyes after so many years being together. when a guy saves himself for his wife one day, and that vasopressin, that first sexual experience is with his wife, he imprints on his wife. And that's when he is truly committed to her. And girls, if you're listening here, you want a guy to imprint on you, not on the sex. And how beautiful is it to see a couple like that? And I will going to talk about the women, about her hormones. That's a little bit different. So go to O for oxytocin in this playlist. You'll find there I talk to women about that hormone, hard to start to rewire. So when clients come to me and teenagers come to me, we need to actually create new neural pathways of the way they are seeing sexuality and sex. Now, it's very interesting. I have a client that I saw some years ago, and he was married for about 15 years, and he married his high school sweetheart, and his first sexual experience was with his wife at the day of his marriage. Then, actually, she betrayed him, and he asked for divorce, and they got divorced, and he met this lovely new lady that he really felt this is the one he wants to be with. And he came to me, and he was really, really distorted because he found that he couldn't be sexually aroused by this new woman. Now, there's other things involved. You shouldn't get sexually involved, blah, blah, blah. I just want to show you how powerful vasopressin is. He couldn't get sexually aroused with this new woman because he imprinted on his wife. He actually had tests done at doctors and all of that, and they sent the guy to me, to a counselor, and said it's psychological. It's not physical. It's actually because his brain was wired, his neural pathways was wired with the vasopressin, and he imprinted on his wife. It's really powerful. And now you remember I quoted the Bible verse in Corinthians that says, flee sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. Now, we'd normally go and think about sexual transmitted diseases, but can you see how you sin against your own body, your physical brain as well? You can't just promise your way out of this when you find your true love. You need to protect your mind, protect your eyes from dangerous things out there. So this is a really powerful session. If you're struggling with this, reach out for help. You need help. You can't just promise your way out of this. You need some new neural pathways to form, and the way you look at sex and the way you view women is quite different if it starts by when your first sexual experience starts with pornography. So reach out for help. I do encourage you for that. Otherwise, if you haven't done anything like that, or you're going to talk to your children, this is a very good way to get started, to explain to them how powerful vasopressin is. Thanks for joining me on this session. Click on the button below if you want to watch the one about women, oxytocin. I covered that one there in a separate session. It's really powerful. Thank you.